What's going on, everybody? Hey, my name is Andy, and welcome to the 13th episode of that one interesting podcast. As usual, before we get started, here's a couple ways to get in contact with us. The first option is our email, which is that one interesting podcast at gmail.com. Our email is that one interesting podcast at gmail.com. The second option is our blogging site, which is that one interesting podcast.blogspot.com. Our blogging site is that one interesting podcast.blogspot.com. You can use our blogging site to leave any comments on topics that you would like to hear or talk on the podcast. And don't be afraid to leave any type of criticism in a way to improve the podcast for our listeners. But anyway, welcome to the 13th episode of that one interesting podcast. And today's episode title is A Life-Changing Decision. And we have a very, very, very special guest with us. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell more about himself to y'all. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, this is Carl Paris, aka Tony Paris, the one and only come get this work trainer at Just Move on Cypress Garden. I'm a professional trainer that help people each and every day to strive to better themselves, not only physically but mentally and spiritually as well.
All right, Carl, how you doing, man?
I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed.
Hey, but anyway, before we start this podcast, I like to give a special shout out to my man, Keem, a.k.a. Fro. He's been listening to the podcast for a pretty decent time, and I heard he's been listening because of my accent. So, hopefully he listened to this one
Good.
and
Good
enjoy this
accent.
podcast, man. Shout out to my man, Keem, and keep your head up throughout the tough time, my man. But anyway, for our first question, for this podcast episode is, Carl, I've been seeing you, I saw you like a couple times, several times I go gym. I see you how you transform your life and how you elevate yourself to a certain position that you are today. So my first question, can you tell us how you made a life changing decision to better yourself? Can you tell us all your story?
Well, regarding that, changing the life was a decision that wasn't up to me. Um, it was honestly up to the one and only that made the pass for you, but he put me in a predicament that I had no other choice but to change. Um, everyone have their, how we say, our young wild bucky days, and
Mm-hmm.
it, and I allowed those things in my life to control my everyday living and my everyday thoughts. So it got me into a predicament that I had to sit down for a while and get my head together. In other words, seeing four walls and seeing nothing but guys really had me to understand life from a different perspective. I met someone that was there that was real cool, that was a little bit elder, that had a little bit more wisdom and little bit more understanding. And he just honestly felt like, he looked at me and, we got real cool. And he was just like, you don't belong here. And I'm like, what you mean? And he was just like, I could just tell your spirit is coming off and you just don't belong here. You're meant for so much more. You just need to find it and then, go for it. Um, and before I was into that situation, I was already doing a little bit of lifting per se, and trying to educate myself on lifting because of the fact of when I was 18, I got robbed and got shot in my lower back.
Mm-hmm.
Till this day, the bullet is still lodged in my lower back.
Wow.
They couldn't remove it because it was, in other words, too close to the spinal cords and the nerves, and didn't want to have no further issues when it comes to me being paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at the time, it was taking me sometimes 10 to 15 minutes just to get out of bed. My significant other sometimes would help me. You put socks on and things like that. and shoes on because it was very rough just to barely move. So one of the things that, started helping me out was working out. Something, and also just wanted to kind of feel better, get a little bit stronger. And so I was already putting those tools into play. But when that guy, the elder, kind of spoke to me and said, "Hey, this, that, and this is what you need to do," and I feel like you don't belong here. I just kind of, asked the Lord, like, "Listen, okay, this what's gonna happen, brother. I got people telling me my life is not where it needs to be, but I'm taking a whole different route. If this is what my life needs to be, I need you to not only help me to make it happen, but I need you to help me be successful in it so I can take care of my household. Because what I think I'm doing right now is enough to take care of my household." And oh man, within I say 3 to 4 days of that conversation with that guy, I had about 4 to 5 people that was in that same facility working out with me, asking me questions, coming to get, hey, how I do this and how I do that, and and if I want to get bigger, if I want to get faster. So I said, okay, I can see it. Let me see how it goes once I get out. And within a month of me getting home, I said, you know what? Okay, this is the time, Lord. Like, this is your chance to show me this is what I need to be doing. So he went ahead and I went ahead and applied to go gym at that time. A month of me being home. I told the person who did my interview, and I told the person who did my paperwork, my background, and they hired me on the spot. Normally, it takes a month to you can. I mean, you can ask around. It takes a while for you to even get into the door, and I literally got
Hmm.
hired on spot,
Wow.
and at that following like 2 days later, I came in and did the paperwork. I explained to them about my background. They explained to me like, listen, we'll give you a chance. Long as you prove to us you do what you need to do, we'll give you that chance. And I took that chance and ran with it. That was literally 5.5 years ago.
Wow.
I'm gonna be 6 years working there. I'm actually one of the top trainers that's been there, and I've been very successful. I'm making enough to take care of my household. My wife don't even have to work if she don't want to.
Oh, wow.
So and I have a large family. I have 8 kids, 4 boys, 4 girls. So I have to be able to provide. I have to be able to bring in, the income in. So to be able to that means a lot to me, not just financially, but just mentally, spiritually as a man. You
Hmm.
put me the head of the household for a reason. So I felt like I had to do those certain things in the beginning of my life to make it happen. So
So you said right after you got out, you went to go a month afterwards. You
mm,
went to go gym to
right.
apply. Like, did you like went through? How did you like? What was the process like? Did you get your certification to be a trainer first, or after you got into go gym?
So yeah, I spoke with a member that was already working there, and I was like, listen, I'm gonna start studying and educating myself on becoming a personal trainer. The ones that I'm finding so far are about 5, 6, 7, 800 dollars, and but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna get the money up, and I'm gonna make it happen. And the person was like, cool, do that. He said, but if we do have a program right now, if you can get in, they will pay for your certification. They don't do that for everybody. Now, I shouldn't even be saying this out loud, you know, but it was one of those. It was a blessing, brother. I
It
mean, that's
is.
that's what it came back down
It
to. I
is,
mean,
man.
when he got something made for you and planned for you, it's gonna happen.
That's crazy.
And I still end up getting certified on my own, but I still got certified through the gym as well. So the gym ended up paying for that certification about 4 to 5 months after I got hired for the job, and I just took that time frame to just study. And I mean, I was never a book reader. I was never a person that that could sit down there for 30 minutes to an hour and read a book. But listen, if you tell me now to go pick up a book dealing with anatomy, I got it. I love it now. I want to educate myself.
That's good. So can you tell us a little bit about your background as a and your upcoming
All right.
when you were small, like that predict you to set yourself in that situation, and
Right.
so people can better understand where you coming from, so they can, like, if someone out there listening to this podcast that's in the same situation that you used to be, maybe they can use that story to change their life. Can you tell us your upcoming, your bringing?
Man, you know, I don't want to say it as everyone else say, not having much growing up, not having a father, but it's actually more to that. My mom, my mom and father was born in Jamaica, and she had me while she was pregnant with me in Jamaica. But by her being born with sickle cell at that time, they didn't have the medicine for them to to have babies and fully live. So they explained to her about her having her sickle cell. If she don't get the proper medicine, she's gonna die giving me birth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when she went ahead and flew over here to have me. Um, so already her having me and her having sickle cell, that was already something that, every couple weeks she had to go into the hospital to get blood transfusions. During that time frame, she couldn't really work. She couldn't keep a job because every couple of weeks she had to go into the hospital and get a blood transfusion. This was maybe a 3 to 4 day time frame of her being in the hospital. So yeah, growing up, it was very difficult. My father was not there, so it was a difficult point of what we're gonna eat tonight. Going to school in the morning to make sure you get your breakfast at school, getting your lunch at school, and then just kind of winging it and hoping, hey, hopefully we can find something for dinner. I mean, that was kind of what life was really about. I mean, my mom did what all she can do for us and provide. Family members did all what they can do to provide, but at the same time, they also had their lives and their family to take care of as well. So, eh, you know, she having my brothers, then having my sisters, still was that struggle. So I remember a couple times staying in shelters. I remember a couple times staying with family members and friends, sleeping on their floors. I remember a couple times our family had to separate. Like my brother had to go stay with his father, and then my sister had to go stay with her father. And then since my father wasn't there, I had to stay with my mom, or I had to go stay with a family member or a friend. Everybody had to go different places just so we could live. um and then when my mom became diabetic, it just made the situation even worse. So when you as a young age see your mom waking up 2 3 o'clock in the morning crying, shaking, and you already can't eat, she can't work, what do you think in an environment that you see people selling drugs and you see people that does sell drugs, they got money, and you looking at it like, okay, what can I do?
And you was like very young.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
so
I mean, that's all that was from the day I was able to understand what life is, from the 4 5 6, and it just kind of, as I got older and having a brother and having a sister. I mean, I remember my mom was in the hospital one time for almost a week and a half, and I was home by myself, getting my brother, getting my sister up and ready for school, and then getting home at a decent time to get them from the bus stopping, and preparing food for us. Like, I remember, my mom raised men. Even though she has a little girl, that little girl had to survive too.
mm-hmm.
She each and of us had to learn a way to make it our way. Our way. Even if it's we don't have much, and even if we got noodles, it was still a way for us to make it. And that's what my mom showed us, just over the time. Her having sickle cells, being diabetic, couldn't work, but she'll find a way to make it, boy. She will
Yeah.
find a way. Pay that rent. I'm like, Mom, the lights off. She said, all right, get the candles out. We'll do the candles for a couple nights. Next, bing. I'm like, Mom, how you got the money? Don't worry about it. We going to the next one. So that was it was tough, but she showed us the way. She made us who we are.
So like, so based on that upcoming, that puts you in, some tough situation. Like, how did you maneuver yourself in order to change your mindset? Like, I know sometime when you go through those, like when you in, sometimes your environment can make the person that you are.
Right,
And
right,
being in
right.
that environment, for a long period of time, you start creating habits. And
Right.
habits is a pretty, once you create and a behaviors become a habit, it's kind of hard to like, change your
Right.
mindset and to, reprogram yourself in order for you to get where you want to be. I know you faces a lot of challenges and how you want to change yourself. How do you like how did you maneuver yourself in order, to get where you are right now? Like,
One that's a great question, and
yeah.
then one of the things that I to kind of take a step back and to express is before I got my personal training certification, I went ahead and got my life coach certification.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I went ahead and got my life coach certification. The reason I wanted to get my life coaching certification was because I realized and understand that if you don't know how to communicate and understand what a person is coming from, how can you understand what they're telling you that they need help in exercise, help in eating, help in managing the times to eat and things of that nature. So I had to get a better understanding to how to communicate with others and understand what they're saying to me. So my mom already put the tools in me to do it. She made the paths, and by her making the paths, I was the person who chose what path I was going to take in life. But once again, she already put the tools in me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got when I was done being a child, and let me say that when I was done being a child, when I was done not listening to others, and then start listening to people who were successful in their lives, people who weren't going to jail, people who weren't selling drugs. When I start listening to those people, once again, my mom already put the tools in me. I just never apply myself to listen. So once I started listening, that's when other doors started opening
It's basically you have the potential to be great,
from jump.
but you just never put that effort to,
Every
improve
last
yourself.
every last soul on this earth is born with a purpose. That's what he said.
Exactly.
You have a purpose on this
Exactly.
earth. What you got to realize, can you find that purpose and utilize that purpose? That's the problem with a lot of us. We can't find, or even if we know what our purpose is, we still not using it
Mm-hmm.
to our full potential. I knew from what my mom always, I could talk. I could sell a shell to a snail. I could sell it.
Yep.
Okay. Now, how can I use that tool and to be successful in my life and take care of my family and still be a blessing to the Lord? You see what I'm saying? Because it goes back to him. It goes back to him. If it don't go back to him, trust me, whatever you have will crumble.
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that because I was very successful in a lot of previous jobs that I had, doing sales. I used to work for the Kennedy Space Center. Okay, I used to work for Allstate. I had my own office selling, had my own key, open up the door, come and get your quote. Working on my 220 license, working on my 440 license.
Mm-hmm.
I did all those things. I had all those different tools, but I didn't utilize it till I snapped and say, you know what? What do I want? What do I need? And these are the things that's going to help me to get to where I need to be.
Was it hard breaking those, bad habits and, in order for you to get yourself like where you want to be?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say yes and no is because once again, once you realize what you want, there's nothing in this world that could stop you. But you have to realize it first that you want it. And until then, you're not gonna succeed. You're gonna keep on. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did it. It's
Exactly.
done.
So my next question is, what was some obstacle that you faced throughout your journey? Like,
One of the main thing is what a lot of people have issue with is just money financially. Being into a environment that is nothing but drugs, is nothing but crime, but your face is still good.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, if I'm having issues with the money, and I know only thing I need to do is call Trap Boy John, and by me calling Trap Boy John, I can make $3,000 in 2 days compared to a month of making that salary. You understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
That goes through my mind each and every day, and that's no offense. That's just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
When some nights go by and we're like, okay, kids, babe, we're gonna have to kind of thug it out tonight. We're gonna have to kind of just eat some oodles and noodles tonight.
Mm-hmm.
When I could turn around and I know I can make me a quick $500. That's when you have to man up. That's when you have to say, no, shake them haters off and keep on pushing. Because it does get to you. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. My wife sometimes every blue moon, I ain't going to lie, babe. Whew, I know if you were doing it, we don't even want to worry about it, And it's she's not saying that for me to do it. She's just saying, man, that's how much more have you matured, because you would have went and ran to that because you're in a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the Lord will do that. He'll put you in a predicament to see what you're gonna do.
Most thing I would say is, sometime in life, that's life in general.
Right.
Things can be good, but the thing that you do so quick to get it, it's not gonna last the longest, man. Cause even though it's hard, even though it's easy to get, trust me, it's just gonna, the same way it come in is the same way it's gonna go out.
Right.
I'd rather stay with something that that I have to work for a longer period of time and get that success and build it. And it's gonna be very solid at the same time. So once you get that good success for a long time, I guarantee you that good success is gonna last you the longest time.
Right. You're 100% correct. I mean, because we can even look at it. Okay, we discussed it in life itself in general. Let's look at it now in just the fitness industry and what my career is into. If a female comes in and say, "Man, I need to lose weight,"
Yeah.
and they need to lose 30, 40 pounds. I need to lose this 30, 40 pounds. Their stomach's is coming over their pants. They're like, man, I need to lose this weight. Then what happens? 2 ways you can do it. One way is to go ahead and get the surgically removed.
Yeah.
That's the
Fastest
way.
way. Yeah.
But then, what I noticed is that even though you get it surgically removed, you still have to come back to the gym. You still have to make sure you're eating right. And then what tends to happen, if you don't do those things, you will gain that weight back plus.
Exactly.
Plus, if you compare that to someone that sits there and busts their butt for the next year, lose that 30, 40 pounds, not only that, it's going to be harder for that weight to gain back, but the pride behind it, the confidence
the
behind
habits,
it.
like I said earlier, the habits that you break.
Come on now.
the habits that you break
Come
to
on.
in order to build yourself, the challenges that you go through. Like, sometimes people look at the physical changes,
Mm,
but they don't look at attention to the mentality change.
right.
But in life, and like I said, in life in general, the physical might look good, but the most important part is inside of you,
Mm-hmm. Come
which
on
is
now.
the mentality.
Come on now.
If you don't change your mentality, how you gonna keep up with how your lifestyle is gonna be in the outside?
Perfect.
Because what's
That's
inside of
perfect.
you is what's reflected in the outside.
It's crazy that you say that because that's the same metaphor. I use a very similar metaphor when it
Yeah.
comes to when they come. Hey, can you just let me know the amount of protein, the amount of fat, and the amount of carbs I need to eat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you just started training. You want to
Yeah.
be very strict on your diet. That's not gonna work.
It's
You
a step.
already preparing yourself to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let's do it like this. Let's try our best for the next 3 months to make the best choices, eating wise, that we can. Why do that? Think about it if you working at a job.
Yep.
You start working at a job. What they do? 90 days later, they give you a review. Why do they give you a review 90 days later? Because it takes the brain, the brain itself, about a month and a half for it to process to understand what's going on. Then about 2 months and a half, it's going to go ahead and say, we got a routine, we got a regular. We know what to do and how to do it with our eyes closed. So by the time 90-day review, if you don't grasp that, that means that you don't want to do this. If you do grasp it, that means that your body's on P's and Q's with it. It's going the flow with it. So
Yep.
that means that when it comes to the eating, I can say at that time, a point of the 90 days, and say, hey, here's your protein, here's your carbs, and here's your fat. Because I can see that your mind frame has already been changed.
Yep.
Right. That's why I tell them, like, you can't compare yourself to any Instagram picture. Like, they
Exactly.
want to look, oh, I want to look like this person. I want to look like that person. Okay, you don't know what mentally that person
Yeah.
been through. You don't know, you know what I'm saying? That person probably
It's,
went through hell
it's
for the
not.
past
Yeah.
3 years, and
That's
now they about to looking how they want to look. And sometimes we got to understand that. Like, we have to understand you have to go through your trials and tribulations. I don't care if it's in life,
mm-hmm.
if it's in fitness, whatever it is. You're going to have to go through your ups and downs. You have to go through something that's you have to experience that's going to make you better.
All right. My next question is: throughout your process, of changing your life, did you actually? Are you starting to fall in love with the process, or are you? Did you fell in love with the process at throughout the beginning, or you trying to focus on that?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I fell in love with it the first couple months. That's one thing I've realized and understand that you have to have a love in this type of career. You have to have a passion for it. If you don't, you not only that you're not gonna succeed, but you ain't gonna want to stay into it. The time that you put into it is not worth the pay. And that just being honest, any personal trainer that's been in this industry is gonna let you know that the
Mm-hmm.
time that you put into it is not worth the pay. But it's the changes. It's like you said, when it comes to not only the physical but the mindset. It's that person that couldn't walk but now they're walking better. It's that person that was having back pain and now they can move better. It's that person who well didn't have the confidence to put on that dress or put on that shirt when they step outside, and now they step outside, they feeling better. They got a big smile on their face. It's that person that normally come to the gym and run by.
Yeah.
Now that person that's walking slow, that's talking ingredient to everybody. That
Yeah.
what makes the difference. That what gets the love of what I do, and it keeps me pushing.
So can you give us at least one interesting story throughout your personal training life, like a good story of a person that you changed their life, that came and
Um,
worked with you?
yes. Oh man. I have a client right now that I'm still currently working with, and she's a blessing to me. Each and every day, we communicate. And we don't only communicate based on things regarding, hey, this muscle is sore or my lower back is hurting. We also communicate on things of life itself. Her job and her kids, and so In the beginning, it wasn't even physically was the issue with her. What the issue was, it was more of a mental situation, stress wise. She needed the gym for her just to relieve stress.
Mm-hmm.
But by her relieving that, taking that time for her to come to the gym or relieving that stress, it helped her out physically because she lost over 30, 40 pounds. The pains that she was feeling in her lower back and her knees instantly went away. And it just overall just made her feel phenomenal as a woman. Make her feel, Wonder Woman per se, how I like to call. So when it was funny because it took a while for that person to even really get on board. It's like, someone that was just like, okay, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. I'm scared, but I know I need to do it. And long story short, stepping out of your comfort zone is
Mm-hmm.
such a big thing.
It's
And for
growth.
someone to do that and make changes with it, that's just a great achievement that I could ever achieve.
That's the thing too. Like people like understand when you stepping out of your comfort zone to to better yourself
Hmm.
and you challenge yourself. That means you're growing.
Right, right,
So when you grow, that means you're getting better at whatever you're trying to get, and you're getting closer to that goal that you're trying to reach.
right. Because that person changed me
Mm-hmm.
because that person wanted so much from me that, oh, my back was hurting. I'm like, okay, let me do research. I'm doing research left and right, back. Oh, my knees hurt. Okay, let me take research. Knee. My hips were hurt. Knee. So not only that, it made me better
Better.
as a whole,
Yep.
but then I turned around and fixed her. So now she's feeling way better. So someone that had all these different issues or chronic pains that was going on, and I turn around and boom, I don't feel it no more. Now these things that I didn't know, I done educated myself on.
Yep.
So now this person is awesome. Now I'm awesome. And now we're being awesome together.
Together. Yeah, man. That's the thing too. When you face challenges, you learn new stuff, you get better at it, and you grow.
Mm-hmm.
And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? That person you change his life, her life, probably gonna refer you to someone else and probably help
Right.
that one else person. And that's how you keep growing and
Come
getting
on
better
now.
around the industry. So my next question is like, have you ever felt like giving up throughout that your situation? Never. And if you never felt that, can you give us like some detail on why? Why kept you going?
Um not no not give up. Um I would say change. Yes. Because when you have a passion for something and you understand that it's for you, I don't think you want to stop. I think you want to you'll constantly have that love for it. I think what happens is you may want to have a change of scenery, a change of environment, things of that nature, and that does go through my mind sometimes. Sometimes I do think about, hey, I could run my own facility. I can have my own gym. Um, I could start a side business that I could still be at the gym and still have another source of income dealing with fitness.
I mean, that's growth. I'm talking about like from the lifestyle that you are now compared to the lifestyle you used to be. Have you ever felt that? Oh yeah, man. Sometimes people change,
Mm,
but it like it take them a certain time to to truly be in that you know
right,
position, because some people might be addicted to certain stuff, and
right.
afterward, even though they went to rehab, but 2 3 years later they went back to what they used to be doing.
Gotcha,
Have
gotcha.
you ever felt like giving up? And if you never felt that, what kept you going throughout that journey, your
Okay,
journey?
gotcha. Understand. Um, I mean, that's just simply the fast life. I mean, for me, the fast life always been something that I always double think about. And like I told you earlier, like till this day, it does go through my mind. If I can make $3,000 in the next 2 hours, other than make $3,000 in a month, I mean, I don't think it's hard to say,
Hmm.
So yeah, it does go through my mind. Do I react on it? No. Why? Because I know the feeling of not looking behind my shoulders every couple minutes. I know the feeling of having my freedom. I know the feeling of just being proud, being a proud parent, being proud, my kids being proud of me. A lot of their teachers I train.
Hmm.
So, it keeps them a little bit more on ball too, because they're like, shoot, my teacher could turn around and tell them, Dad, what's going on. So, no, I don't. You know what also does it for me as well? When I have great and good friends from my old hood that may call me, text me, Facebook me, and say, hey, bro, keep doing what you doing. Don't stop. Don't even come back to Orlando. And that's how they come at. That's how they communicate to me, and so when I haven't spoke to you in about 2 years, and this is the first response that I get from you.
Hmm.
Hey man, hey, love you, bro. Keep it up. Don't come back. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. That what keeps me going. That's what keeps me saying no. I'm
That's
okay.
that's awesome, man. Like I can tell you whatever, like what are you doing now have a greater a way greater impact on what you used to do. Because
Right.
by being in the right path and doing this and helping out people, you don't know how much impact you have around you, especially your kids.
Right.
Your
Right.
kids can use like they see you, like they watch, they usually pick up things from their parents.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you know how you can change their life, the way you maneuver yourself around the house, the way you do certain things, the way you help people. They pick that up, and
Right.
that's like such a greater investment that you can implement on your child, so they can learn and implement that in their life and move forward with it.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I
Yeah.
mean, one thing that, like I was saying earlier, my mom made paths for me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what my job is now, is to make paths for my kids. But what the things that I've been through, the life's experience and the trials and tribulations, did made who I am,
Yep.
and that's what I try to explain to my kids. Like, I don't want to hinder y'all. At the same time, I want to better y'all.
Exactly.
So yes, I not only tell them to become leaders, and this is the reason why you are a leader and why you want to become a leader. But I also go to middle schools and coach and mentor to middle schools and other people as well, because it's not just in the household, it's in the world, it's in the environment, it's our community. So if I know that my daughter and the people that she's going to hang around with also have a perspective thinking that they're leaders and that they have multiple paths and they can choose their paths, then we all could be on the same boat. It'll be a better living for everybody. They can make better choices. Their peer pressure won't be as crazy as it is now. And I realize that. I mean, you have to let them live their lives. At the same time, you have to be able to kind of pull back and tell them you're going too far.
Yeah.
And that's what my mom done for me, and that's why I reflect back to my kids.
Yeah. What I was trying to say is, invest a better investment for a greater outcome.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Invest in something that is good for a greater outcome. You might
Right.
not see it right now, but if you keep going and pushing throughout the journey, you have the outcome. You won't believe what the outcome looks like,
Right. Right.
because
Right.
it'll be better than you ever imagined. You just got to keep going and keep pushing and staying on the right path.
Right.
All right. My next question is, what is something important you can tell someone that's listening to this podcast that's in the same position that you used to be and trying to change your lifestyle, or anyone else that's facing any obstacle throughout their lifestyle, throughout their life right now? What are some important things that you can tell them?
The main important thing that I would say is just push yourself out of that comfort zone. I mean, that's one of the key words that I use, and that's one of the key things that I stick with, because we are we all have a comfort zone, and
Yep.
most of us are in that comfort zone and don't even know that we're in it. So once you can realize what your comfort zone is, the easier for you to break it, the easier for you to be successful in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the ABC of it. If you want the honest truth, you have to figure out what your comfort zone is, and then how to get out of it. And then I guarantee once you do that, whatever predicament or situation that you're in at that time, it will get changed.
Mm-hmm. So what are some important things you could tell them on whoever's facing obstacle that feel like giving up and that's trying to change their life to be better?
Keep on staying, making sure that you don't stay in that comfort zone when it comes to pushing and not giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that you give some form of authority to some higher power. I don't care if it's yourself. I don't care if it's the Lord Himself. I don't care if it's Buddha. You know, some higher power needs to get some type of authority. Someone that you can vent to. Someone that you can kind of relieve your emotional stress to. Um, and just overall, just knowing that who you are. You know, the more that you can know who you are, the faster that you could just get things handled when it comes to the time frame of when you want to get it done.
All right.
So,
Go ahead.
so to elaborate on that, to give you an example, that when my younger days, what I thought I was a street brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm like, okay, I'm a street brother. You can't mess with me. I do this, I do that. I'm a street brother. Once I change and understand who I was and say, you know what? No, I'm a professional trainer. I'm a professional. My mindset changed as that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So as soon as I got out of that street mind, I was able to perform the way I wanted to perform, which is professional.
Mm-hmm.
So since I thought professional, I performed professional. If I thought street, I became street.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say? I know a lot of people that's out there, I understand a lot of kids that's in the street
Mm-hmm.
usually have a hard time listening to people. And they're pretty hard headed. They like strong minded. They say, "Oh,
Right.
I'm gonna do
Right.
this. I don't care what you say. This is
Right.
what I am." Like, what are some good advice you could give that person that's that have that lifestyle?
When you're dealing with it, dealing with that type of environment while you're young, honestly, and this just coming from my heart, you have to dig deep. You have to dig
Exactly.
deep.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, sometimes some of us have to continue living that life, and something drastic have to happen to us for us to say, okay, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not for me. Some of us don't learn. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some
Yeah.
of us will never learn. Some of us, it will hit us and we will grasp that. But how the world is and how our young youth are, and myself dealing with them and talking to them, we can once again make those paths for them, but it's up to them to take the
That's
path. So for the young youth that's going through a similar situation, dealing with environment, you have to really just dig deep and figure out what you really want in life. If you want to be a street, then go hard. Be a street. Go 100%, 110%. I'm not going to lie to you. Because if you go in there 60%, you will die. You will be in jail. If you go in there 98%, you will die. You will go to jail. But if you choose a different route, you have a 98% chance of being a millionaire. you have a 60% chance of being a millionaire. If you notice what I'm saying, that death is not in that.
Yep.
So that person, that child, that youth have to look into themselves and figure out what they really want.
Mm-hmm.
We can make the paths for you. Which one are you going to take? Are you a leader or are you a follower? And that's the question that I will ask that youth. Because if you're a leader, then you won't be doing things that the previous person done, which is sold drugs to make a living.
Yep.
That's what the previous person done.
Yeah, that's so true, man.
If you are I don't care if you're black, blue, purple. If you are an individual that starts your own business, you done that. You did that. You're a leader. That's yours.
Exactly.
When you sell drugs, ain't now one of those drugs yours. Let's be serious, because most likely Mike, who's on the corner selling the drugs, got it from John. And John got it from somebody else. But when you're your own business owner, you're not getting it from nobody else. That's yours. You the CEO. You the boss. So the question that I always have to ask my youth, are you a leader or are you a follower?
Hey, but anyway, before we wrap up this episode, I do a segment called Something Interesting. You know, something interesting could be anything interesting that I found on the internet. It could be a question that is asked by one of our listeners, or it could be something that someone told me. And I think it'll be a great question for this episode this week. And this week, something interesting is I know you do a lot of you doing your own business stuff and stuff like that. Can you give us like some input? You know, advertise yourself out there to tell the people how they can better support you in your journey, and to help you elevate yourself to a position to the goal that you trying to reach.
Right. Yes, I have couple business schemes per se out there that I'm working on. One of them, I have my clothing line with a friend and I called FTGU, From the Ground Up Fashion. You can go to the website at ftgufashion.com. I have hats on there. I'm still currently working on building shirts and pants and putting in some fitness wear and accessories and things of that nature. But yes, currently working on that as well. I have a kids book that I'm working on that shortly, within the next couple months, it will be out and published. Something for the kids to kind of look at, to kind of read and have fun. And I'm going to try to make into a series with it. I also have FTGU Ministries, From the Ground Up Ministries. That's like I was saying earlier, I go to the middle schools and mentor the kids. So that's a side business that I'm working on, a nonprofit organization. I also have a FTGU Fitness, okay, From the Ground Up Fitness, that I'm currently working on. And that's something that don't want to get too much details on it, but
Still in process.
it's gonna be big when it explodes, brother.
So can you give us where someone can reach you out in order
Yes,
for?
you could definitely go to my fitness Instagram page, is Lego LEGO_fitness. You can definitely DM me of any questions or any concerns. You can kind of also look at my videos and like I said, also FTGU Fashion, from the ground up fashion.com, that website. You can also go there too and look at a couple of my hats and what we have to offer.
And where do you mostly mentor and stuff at?
I mostly mentor at Denison Middle School.
All right.
I used to go to Snively, but I stopped because of my work schedule. But Denison's the main school that I mainly go to. So that's the only one that I currently have at this time.
All right.
But I'm definitely looking to expand and reach out there, and try to get a couple more schools, or at least start like a little small community.
All right, but listen, if y'all heard the information, if y'all want to support, Go ahead and reach him up on Instagram. Support him and help him out. He works at
Just Move.
Just Move.
Cypress
I
Garden.
mean, like one of the top trainer out there. Just be ready when you come to one of his classes. You guarantee you're gonna lose at least 10 pounds when you get out of there. Cause he'll work you out.
It's the abs.
Yeah, that was crazy. One time I went over there. It was, but trust me, man. If you train with him, he'll get you where you want to be at. If you go to Just Move, hit him up, ask for TK or
Tony
Carls. I know him by TK mostly.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask for him, you'll see him at Just Move and he'll help you out, and get to where you want to be at. I guarantee you won't regret it. And also check out his clothing line, FTGUfashion.com. Support him. If you want to buy his stuff, support him and help him out. And my last thing is, one of the book that I just encountered is the title is So Good They Can't Ignore You. It's by Cal Newport. So that book basically tell you how to, keep yourself focused on where you want to be. Sometimes you gotta be focusing on the process. Like if you stay focused on the process and what you do, you get better at it. At a point, you're gonna become so good that people want, they can tell you from the majority of the crowd.
Right.
My last word is I'd like to thank you for coming on the 13th episode of That One Interesting Podcast. Hopefully, whoever is listening out there can take your story and help them change their life and and improve it and get better at whatever they're doing. Any last word to any listeners, to all the listeners?
Last words. FTGU from the ground up. Okay. That's every day, all day. People that strive for better to become better. All right. Come get this work at Just Move, Cypress Garden. All right. And always remember, just push yourself out of that comfort zone. All right. Everybody's leaders, nobody's followers.
Exactly. Be better, stay better, and grind every day and get to where you want to be. And I'm out.